Hey everybody, Brian Hunt here with you for another video. In this one, I'm going into my build, how I built out my A7S III camera. There are a few of you that have asked me about this in the comments, so I'm just doing a short video to show you how I build up my A7S III and why I've chosen to do that. Okay, so this is the camera here. Let's let the focus get on here, and we can move this around. I can show you on the front here, we have one of these little Tiltaing matte boxes. They're a light matte box. You can fit a 4x5.6, I believe that is, filter into the front here, just one filter at a time. You cannot do any rotations with that. A lot of times I'll be using something like this Pro Mist that I'll slide into the front here. I really like using a black Pro Mist 1/8 in a lot of my videos. I actually have one on my FX9 right now that's filming that. It gives it a little bit different of that look in the background and the lights. But that's on the front. I'm using one of the Sigma's 24 to 70 with the Sigma adapter for EF to E mount. And I did a video talking about the autofocus and how well that works with the Sigma lenses when you adapt them. That was doing tests on the FX9, but the same thing crosses over for the A7S III on the use of that. Next up, you're going to see I have one of these cages on here. It's a SmallRig's cage going around. I have a SmallRig little side handle, and I have the Atomos Ninja V up top. I can shoot ProRes RAW to this. I'm typically not shooting ProRes RAW. I'm typically shooting internally to the cards on this and using just ProRes to this in HD as a backup in case anything happens. The reason I am not shooting a lot of ProRes RAW is that the ProRes RAW does not record, or anything over HDMI does not record the gyro stabilization or the gyro information that you need to use for stabilizing your footage, what I talked about in another video on the tools and how to use that and how well it works. We're going to be using that all the time. It works amazing, especially when we're doing handheld stuff. So I want to shoot to the cards because of that, and really just using it as a monitor and a backup in case anything happened with my cards. We have footage, even just be 1080p, that is recorded on the monitor at the same time. We're using one of the SmallRig's top handles here that you can easily get on and off. And then another big thing here that people have asked me a bunch about when they've seen is this little audio device from Sony. What are they calling this again? I'm really bad with item numbers and things like that. I don't really care too much for things like that. I just rather knowing about what works. But I'll have this link to the description below of what this is actually called. I got this with my camera, or I bought it when I bought my A7S III, because I knew I wanted to have something that I could have a bit better audio controls with it. I wanted to be able to have XLRs go into it, and I wanted to be able to have two things in there so I could have a lapel and a subject and have a shotgun going into it, and being able to do some manual controls, which this does have on the side here. Now this also does have, which is really cool, this extension piece here. So what this is a smart kind of device. You can get this with some of the other lapels or the wireless transmitters from Sony as well, but this slides into the hot shoe on the top of the camera. But if you have like I'm running here, a top handle, and you have stuff in the way of that, or you want to run a monitor on the front, you can't fit that in there. Now, I can fit this on the side here, but I'm not getting the controls from the camera. The way you get around that is this comes with it, and it allows you to put that in, put it on, and allows you to put that thing, and you can have a little bit of a reach, and you have a different place where you can put this on your camera. It's a very cool little thing. It comes in a nice little kit like this, a little baggie, put it in. The other cool thing with this is you can use this on the FX9 to get some more control on your other audio channels. You can have 4 XLR inputs. You can have the 2 in the camera plus the 2 of this if you're using that on the FX9. And you can see if I am running and using this handheld, which is when a rig like this I'd be using quite a bit handheld, it works very well. I can get you know, my extra hand over here, I can get to the record button, I can move some stuff quickly. I would love to have a side handle that has a record stop. There is ones that SmallRigs is making. I just don't know if they actually work on the A7S III or not. If you guys have tried that or do know if they still cross over from the A7 III or the A7R III, they have ones that work with that. I just doesn't say if it's compatible with the A7S III. I'd love to know, because that would be a great thing just to have the record, stop, and start here. It is kind of a pain to get to on here where it is on the cage. But this is kind of an easy setup I can have and do handheld work with. For my custom settings on the camera, I had a video on my FX9 showing you my custom settings for that. I would recommend going over to Philip Bloom's channel. I'm going to link to it up here and in the description. And I downloaded his presets and put them on a card. And then I've modified them to what I want to use them, but I'm using them very similar to what he has set up. He spent a lot of time going through that. So guys, I'm not going to do a video showing you all those things, because I'm using somebody else's setup and the way that they've configured their camera. And mine's basically the buttons, the custom buttons, is configured pretty much the same way. It's a very in-depth video that he has done, so it's a good one to watch to see how you can do those things and how you can do those custom settings yourself. And the only other thing really on this rig, that the way I'm doing this would be my handheld rig. When I'm using this on a gimbal, on my RS2, the DJI RS2, the Ronin S2, I am taking all these other things off, taking off the top handle, changing the plate on it, and I'm using it on the gimbal. I'm typically using it that way when I know I'm just doing gimbal work, or I'm using my FX9 or my upcoming FX6 to shoot with on a tripod or handheld, and using this just as a gimbal camera at that kind of stage. So one other thing on the kit, when I am needing to use a variable ND outside, I am not using this little matte box on it. I am using the Peter McKinnon Polar Pro Mist 2 edition. These are great NDs, or variable NDs, and they have that kind of black pro mist, a subtle one built into it, and they have nice hard stops on it where you can't go too far, and they have a really smart way of going on and off. These are the best variable NDs I have used, on just the sense of the way that they've been thought out. Yeah, you can always have a lot of problems using variable NDs, going too far with them, really shifting your colors. They are by far the best ones I have used, and I have them just kind of labeled so I can quickly figure out which one is which when I throw them on the camera and when I'm putting stuff onto the rig. And that's basically it. That is my rig. This is how I rig out my camera when I'm doing it handheld. Hope you guys liked this video. Please give me a thumbs up. If you did like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys on the next one.